the fringe side of things. But enough of that. We are into picks and bans. FPX versus Ultra Prime is going to be FPX on the blue side with Ultra Prime on the red. And we can see the Udyr, the Renekton, the Nocturne, Senna, Lee Sin, and Viego, the man we just talked about, all banned away here in the first rotations.
Yeah, and last time we saw FPX actually be a team that just first picked Udyr on blue side both games, so a little bit surprising they're the ones to ban it out this time around. I think Rumble jumps up in priority without Udyr being on the table. We've seen him consistently first rotationed on red side, but it looks like FPX, I'm going to call it out, they're probably just going to lock in this Varus. We've seen it be extremely dominant in that bottom lane 2v2, has a lot of different variants in terms of its builds, and it's going to give LWX a lot of impact in that early laning phase.
So talk me through this. We got a bit of time, right? So obviously Varus has been known throughout every single, minor and major region right now that has kind of picked it up as like the pick. It's been almost perma-banned, perma-picked. I'll have to triple check on that stat. Why? Why is it so powerful, and why are teams prioritizing it so much?
I feel like Varus has a lot of different aspects to why he's strong, and we'll hit on the Sivir in a second. That, again, your build path is versatile, so it's kind of similar in the vein to like how flex picks work, that you can match a different situation in terms of lethality or like an actual AD carry build. You really don't have anything you lose to in the laning phase, and especially your damage coming from both your range and even some of your passive blight. He does scale extremely well. So Varus just does tick all the boxes. But Penguin, we got some spicy picks. We've been seeing Xin Zhao over in the LCS, and I'm happy we finally get it here with Hacker bringing out very aggressive early game jungler. And we're going to see SMLZ go onto the Sivir, so going to play much more of a wave clear oriented role. But so far to me, Up's composition says, hey, we are going to run at you.
Yeah, honestly, this feels like a really, really good kind of setup right now of just run into people. I will say it is, kind of something that FPX can deal with. It is very early on of a kind of, showing your hand of like, we want to just dive in on top of you. I don't know if he goes with the Kled here. He might. You got the Rumble already locked in. And the set, we actually talked about this a little bit off broadcast. The set without Hex Flash feels like it might not be the best kind of champion to go for because he relies so heavily, but never mind. This is FPX. They don't care. They're going for it anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I definitely think it hurts it in the support role because Set was one of those champions that at level 1, you just want to blow your flash, try to trade with the enemy AD carry. You have so much damage, you could even potentially just, find the all-in kill. Hurts him in the support role. I think in mid and top, it doesn't affect him as much. He is going to do fine, especially with the fact that we have Duinbi on the Rift right. I don't think it'd be uncommon to see it go either in his hands or for Nuggeries. On the opposite side, though, Up going to go with one of the safest blind pick top laners that we see consistently. They are going to get the Gnar. And, I like that Up said, hey, we're just going to come running at you. And it seems like FPX are saying, okay, fine, we're going to match toe-to-toe with the Set pick. Varus is enough self-peel. We can throw the equalizer on you if you do give us a telegraphed angle. And they want to match punch for punch.
And the one thing I will say is that, like, obviously we talked about the Varus and how much pressure he's able to garner and how much of a priority he is. The Sivir kind of, in a later game kind of stage, not so much an early game, but definitely in the later stages, kind of does a very similar thing of being able to just clear waves constantly with the Boomerang Blade, the ricochets. You have so many ways of just keeping yourself safe alongside that, spell shield as well. So I feel like that is a direct kind of answer to what this, Varus will be able to bring for FPX.
Yeah, again, the thing is he's going to feel very safe just sitting in bot lane. He shouldn't get abused too much by Nuggery, especially once he hits the level 5 mark and starts getting more points into his wave clear. The thing I'm interested in going into the next phase of draft is if Up are just going to blind pick mid and leave support counter pick, because we highlighted with Hex Flash being removed, that might open up the support pick, the support pool more. It's looking to abuse that bot lane. So things like the Orianna are still open. We've seen Lulu banned consistently in the LPL. That is something that can flex between mid and bot, and then you can save that counter pick for Xiaoxi if you want. So I think Up has options, but I would expect whatever they pick here, if it's not a flex, just lock in the mid laner like they're hovering.
Yeah, and we actually talked about, we didn't actually get to tell you a huge amount, but in terms of the meta right now, Orianna, Victors, Rises, these are all very much into Xiao Bao, excuse me. I'm probably going to butcher that for a while until I get used to it, but, these are all champions within his wheelhouse. He's very comfortable on the Orianna. I believe he played it, and it's, in terms of the stats I can get off of Leaguepedia, 27 times so far in his career in the LDL for the Orianna, so definitely something that he's going to be feeling very good with. And honestly, the Ultra Prime kind of setup right now, coming into the last few kind of picks, is looking pretty solid.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see how FPX answers this, because we are going to see the set in the mid lane. It looks like we have the Jace and Irelia ban coming out. So with Nuguri wanting to play a carry, it seems like we are going to go to the Lucian. That is obviously double flex, right? That can go mid, that can go top. We're not exactly sure what FPX will do, but we do know set mid would be more characteristic, and Nuguri going for a carry kind of spells out how FPX would typically play. And yeah, now for Xiaoxi, again, they've spelled out they want to go in, hovering the Tahm Kench. I honestly wouldn't be a big fan. They do lock it in, but to me, it's like, okay, you're going to play safe in this bottom lane 2v2. You come into team fights later on, but okay, Sivir ultimate with Xin Zhao and Gnar running in. You have a pretty nice front line on the side of FPX to try to dissuade that. LDUX can be safe in the back line trying to fight that off. And then Tien should be able to find some pretty nice equalizers. So I think if they had gone with something like a Thresh or a different engaged champion that gave them more options, I would have liked Up's comp a lot more, but still solid overall, really good team fighting, and they should be able to get through a lot of these early game laning phases relatively unscathed.
And I'm looking at these two compositions, and what I see between the two of them, when you have a Lucian Varus and a Rumble on one end, and of course the Xin Zhao and the Sivir on the other, objectives will be melted. Dragons, Barons, even towers, they will just go down. So it's going to be about quick thinking, quick reactions, and honestly just being decisive in this game if these comps end up kind of going the way I think they will.
It really will. I think FPX are going to be the ones who are going to be extremely explosive, because they have set in the mid lane. You can pretty much just ignore Orianna once you get a few points into your Q, run up, W the wave, maybe find some trades if you can hit a good E onto her, and you're just going to pretty much constantly push and move, right? To where then you have this lane bully and Lucian going to look to try to bully the Gnar. So I expect a more topside oriented game coming out from the side of FPX. Then it's about how do Up survive that onslaught, and especially for Hacker, where does he find to get this early pressure off? You would expect maybe look to punish Nuguri up in the top lane. Your bot lane isn't really that gankable. You have Tahm Kench, Sivir. So can they ward off that early pressure and let Xiao Cao Bao and SMLZ get to a point where they are extremely strong in the late game?
We'll have to wait and see. So we are jumping onto the Rift for game one of this best of three, FPX versus Ultra Prime. The old E-Stars now with a almost completely new roster coming into this. They've made a hell of a lot of changes as they look to try and improve of a 16th finish in Spring Split. But FPX, they made it all the way to finals. They were favorites to win it, and they just weren't able to get it over the line. So they will be looking to try and just make that a little bit more of an improvement and take the Summer Split Championship well early for that now in terms of that. But quick little note here. I'm loving this top lane. It's actually a Cloth Armor Pots versus a Longsword and a Refillable Potion.
Yeah, both of them wanting to kind of get the most out of early game stats that they can, and more quickly get to those item break points where they're going to be able to impact the map. I feel like one thing to note when we have Xin Zhao on the Rift is he is a champion that can look for level 2 ganks, so you don't really have a ton of options on the bottom side of the map, in my opinion. If LWX and Chris were over-aggressing, you could do that, but with both sides leashing, that's unlikely. We have a set in the mid lane, so I don't think that really means too much. Then the other thing with Xin Zhao is what build is he going to go for? Because in LCS, where he's been played, we've seen the Gore Drinker, we've seen Frostfire Gauntlet, we've seen Sunfire Aegis, and with the comp that Up have gone for, I think I would like maybe a more tank-oriented Xin Zhao to play a frontline role and just give room to be a ball delivery system, let SMLC do his damage later on, and really just reinforce that 5v5 that Ultra Prime have.
We'll keep an eye on it as we go through the game. Of course, curious to see how Ultra Prime really do kind of squash the early game kind of prowess you have with this composition for FPX. Obviously, we've already spoken about the Varus, we've spoken at length about him, but we didn't even get a chance to talk about Lucian and Gnar. Lucian was something that, you know, even RNG, you know, you're looking at Xiaohu and everyone like that, this has become a staple of the top side, and he is just so oppressive. You pick the Gnar almost to try and make sure you don't die, to mitigate it, because it's a much safer option than trying to go toe-to-toe with this beast.
Yeah, and, you know, we'll hit on top in a second. We see FPX hovering around mid lane. I actually don't think they can do anything. Doomby goes for the flash.
Oh, there's the flash, and you can see the first blood. But in the bot lane, though, it's Ultra Prime jumping in on top, and there's a flash forward. The auto attack is good from LWX, and that means he trades 1 for 1. He will lose his life to SMLZ, and there's kills all over the map.
A ton of action on our screens. We saw first in mid that Xiao Cao Bao's reaction time You know, he wasn't able to react to that flash E coming out from Doinby, so nice setup by FPX. Not quite sure how bot lane ended up the way it did. We know that Tahm Kench, early levels, is a stronger in trades than the Alistars. I wonder if Crisp is actually the one to start off the engage. He does go for it. They find return damage. LWX not really able to output that much. And yeah, the strength of Tahm Kench coming out early. Nice flash in by Xiaoxi to finish that one off. LWX wanting to trade back. He could have gotten out safely, is able to get the return kill, but still, SMLZ gonna pick this one up. I think the big question is what happened with the wave. I doubt SMLZ was able to push it in. That looked impossible. So LWX at least not gonna lose too much in terms of gold or EXP. Bottom wave does look fine for him. He's gonna come out even. And I'm just surprised we already have a ton of early aggression coming out with the drafts we have on the side of UP.
Yeah, very, very early aggression there. And the key thing there, as you can see with the Sivir, the spell shield, being level 3, being able to mitigate that, you know, kind of headbutt pulverize combination. And this is why you pick the Tahm Kench, because you can just grab Scuttle and bring it all the way out to the back of Blue Buff as he's very scared. It's not his environment. You're like, it's like releasing a cow into the desert. It's just not going to know what to do. As we can see.
Hysterics level analogies today, Penguin.
I was going to say, I've missed the LPL. I've missed Hysterics. You know, when he hits them, though, they do make a lot of sense, and they're absolutely perfect. But, you know, you miss every shot you don't take. I think is his analogy or his thesis on it, I suppose. But looking at this now, you can see in the bot side, they do have Hacker for Ultra Prime just hovering in the bot side. But very difficult for him to really do anything here. He knows there is no flashes, no Hex flashes either. There is only so much you can do, but again, so safe, so much, you know, protection here with the Sivir Tahm Kench. Very, very unlikely they're going to go for a dive this early.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no way, and I mean, Tien's only level 4, so not sure what Hacker was looking at. Maybe if FPX overextended, right, he's there to go for the gank because you have no flash on Crisp or LWX. The good thing for SMLZ, he was still able to hold that summoner. So we are hitting on points that Hacker can try to abuse early. Now you do have a lane where there are some windows to punish. His path is still towards topside with how he did decide to clear his jungle early on, but I think Nuggery is relatively safe. We see Tien also path towards the top side, so even if he needs help, just someone hovering to push in this wave, he has Nuggery there. We hit on how Doinby is going to be able to just kind of ignore Shout Cell out in the mid lane, push and look for these roams, and that's exactly what FPX are doing so far.
Yeah, they're looking for it, but they do recognize that ZS has got the Mega Gnar, so it would be a little bit of a difficult task to take him down when he has that big old CC. Doinby now back into this mid lane, trying to just kind of create pressure, and this is what we talked about as well in the the pre-game, is that for Xiao Xiaobao, it's going to be about, can he control Doinby? Can he stop him from roaming? And so far, one roam off, it didn't lead to anything, but it's those little small moments that you're going to have to be very careful if you're up.
I mean, between, Doran's shield, Set's passive, he has the fleet footwork, probably making his way into the result tree as well. It's going to be very hard to keep him in lane, but Nuggery actually just straight chilling, Penguin.
Straight chilling. Did have to flash away, though, as ZS did not, so you can see just a little bit of an unfortunate timing there. Tien is here, though, and is only level 5, so doesn't quite have the equalizer to set this one up. It's just trying to delay backs, though. I kind of like this from Tien. He's just waiting for Doinby. As you can see him now in the bottom of your picture coming up. They're delaying the wave. Hacker's going to be able to try and clear this one as much as he can. He smites it away. Now there's no minions. He gets the backdoor bonus. They flash in on top of ZS. Will he go down? No, he gets Mega just in time, but it's Hacker who's the first to fall. But now you have the Orianna. There's 3 people here. There's a shockwave available. Flash is there as well. Flash in, gets the Q in on top of Nuggery, and he is dead. Now, Tien, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? There's the ultimate there from ZS. They try to turn this one onto the Orianna as he gets a shockwave down. Doinby has got the Q. Is he going to have another auto attack? No, he is not. ZS pops on his head, and that's going to be 3 kills over the side of UP. Nicely done.
I really love how we saw Xiao Xiaobao play that, right? Because he comes in, he finds the initial kill, knows he doesn't have to use his shockwave right away, and then even plays it out. He goes toe-to-toe with Tien and kind of baits Tien and Doinby into him until he then uses the shockwave, and it even gives ZS time to come in and help clean up the kill. So a play from this hyped up-and-coming mid laner that we wanted to see already coming out. Let's be honest, was a bit of an overforce by the side of FPX. They had no wave, and Doinby looks like he said, like, screw it, I'm already here, we're just going to go for the play. And yeah, just it bit FPX back massively.
And here's the pro view here, and you can see just exactly what information he has. He knows how low they are, and he knows he doesn't need to commit the shockwave too early.
That's the thing, right? He goes for it, and especially here, he just keeps going into Tien. He knows Tien actually has nowhere he can go. He even has 2 biscuits. He had the shield up, and he waits for Doinby to come in, hits the shockwave, sure, takes a bit of damage from the W, but ZS having his hop as well, able to come finish off the kill, and I feel like that is a pretty big swing for the side of Ultra Prime.
Has 2 kills. Oh, flash in. There's the showstopper. As they start off the fight, the equalizer down on top of it. They know there is no flash available. And that is going to be a very harsh welcome to the LPL here for the up mid laner. You're going against FPX. They will double down on anything and everything, so you have to pay respect to that. But good response kill here for FPX. They keep the gold nice and even.
They're also turning it into an objective. They're going to take Rift Herald. ZS is going to take a lot of punishment on this one. Really greedy pathing walking out from Try when, again, they just got to kill mid. They push in the wave. You assume they're taking the Herald. So he's going to have to go for a recall. He doesn't have TP. I don't think Hacker can do anything. If he looks for the steal, he's just dead.
Oh, he is 100% dead off this. Oh, never mind. He gets the steal, gets the ult off, and he gets himself the Rift Herald. So can he get to the wall? Oh, Shousey! He was there, my friend. He was there. You could have eaten him. Ah, well, never mind. It doesn't really matter. He got himself the Rift Herald. And honestly, in terms of the gold you give over, your kill versus the potential tower or plates you get, it's pretty much an even trade.
I mean, I feel like FPX are going to be the ones who feel better about that end of the trade because not only do they get like a gold trade, they just got the good trade in top lane. They're going to be able to, like, Tien's going to be able to stay on the map and kind of catch up in terms of farm. We should see FPX start rotating down towards bot side to try and get some vision in terms of Dragon, but it's at least something for the side of up. But I mean, the second Hacker chose that play, Hacker chose death. You know, some people choose violence, Hacker chose death, Penguin.
It's just, you know, that kind of like sad anime moment where he sees you smiling and he knows he's gonna die, but it's just like, oh my god, no. Have to back away. But speaking of backing away, you can see now Ultra Prime just pushing in this bot lane, and actually it's LWX having a pretty hard time dealing with this Sivir. And yes, you get the headbutt pulverize combo, but Tam Kench is there, spell shields are there. There's not really a lot you can do against this combination, and you can see a little bit of a CS lead, a little bit of a gold lead as well, creeping up about 400 or 500 in that bot side, and that's going to be a bit of an issue if this Sivir gets to 2-3 items, you know, later on in the game, a little bit earlier.
I mean, and there the punishment he's taking from the Boomerang Blade. And the thing is, right, you have Spell Shield for Chains of Corruption if Varus ever did want to look for a play, but he's actually never even going to be in that position because SMLZ is just continuously forcing in these waves. And I feel like the viewers at home are getting a little bit of a throwback to the back in the day of, you know, just the Sivir comp. Extremely good at taking turrets, extremely good at neutralizing enemy bot lanes, and I mean, Sivir, Tahm Kench, both neutralizing champions, and the fact that they're only a few hundred gold behind with the fact that they have an Orianna, that they have a Sivir, feels really good for them. Again, it's going to be something to watch with how team fights are organized later into the game, because I do think FPX still have routes to fight, even if they do get outscaled. It's just going to be a lot more about bursting someone out, catching someone off guard, rather than going for an extended fight.
And ZS realizing that they might have found an opportunity up in this top side, so Doomby says, hey, I roamed, I'm gonna go ahead and get some more plates with my buddy. While Dragon is being taken on top of a ward, LWX might go for a snipe here if he's feeling frisky. It looks like he is. He's gonna try charging up. Never mind, nothing you can do as you got that upgraded smite now, so it's doing a hell of a lot more damage a hell of a lot earlier, so it's very difficult to take those sneaky little steals.
And both teams just trading on opposite sides of the map, right? So FPX ultimately are the ones who get first turret gold, so that is a nice little boon for them, but still, we're going to see Up be able to take this objective. I'd say the other good thing for FPX going into this is the fact that they've already gotten resets off.
There is a flash, but it's Ghost on top of him. Showstopper to end it all up, and that is going to be the third death for the rookie mid laner here on the side of Ultra Prime, and Doomby giving him a warm welcome into the LPL.
I mean, and just, you know, set with Stridebreaker, able to close distance, also bringing the Ghost as well. So, you know, he wasn't even really that far extended in lane, but still ultimately ends up getting punished.
Speaking of which, we do see Crisp Not quite. There it is. Go say not quite popping the Unbreakable Will. Does pop it in the end as he goes down to about half HP. Needs to keep himself healthy, and you can keep sustaining off this. Like, you still have, you know, charges here on Xiaoxi. He's still got the tick skin. You got a couple of pots there, and you actually got the Prowler's Claw here for SMLZ, with the Manamune being the first item here for LWX. So a little bit of earlier power spike here for the Sivir comparatively to the Varus.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. We do see some Sivir builds where they go lethality. I think, you know, people wouldn't be surprised if we've seen like Duskblade Sivir in their solo queue games, but Prowler's Claw is a really interesting one to me. He is going to have that dash again, can dash through enemy champions, can dash through minions if you're trying to escape from an enemy, so going to have a bit of utility there. And he's also going to get more lethality from his other mythic items. And this just shows that UP want to keep the tempo of the game high going forward. But speaking of mythics, we also got our answer on Hacker. We hit on how it would be nicer to see him go for one of the tank mythics, and it does seem like he agreed. Going to bring out the Frostfire Gauntlet, so he has a lot of strong sticking potential with this item, and he's going to do a really good job of even kind of peeling off the frontline targets that want to try and get onto the Orianna and the Sivir.
Yeah, again, like a very standard front-to-back team fight. Last as long as you can, be as annoying as you possibly can be, and you are doing your job. The Sivir and the Orianna, plenty of work to be able to or plenty of damage in their kits to be able to make that one work for your team. And right now, the only kind of big, I suppose, gap, if you will, that's kind of forming isn't that top side. Everyone else relatively even. Actually, it's that top side for the side of FPX, but in bot lane, SMLZ is about 1,000 gold ahead as well. So you see Nuguri now maybe in a little bit of trouble. It's the two tanky boys. We see a flash forward along with the Stride Breakers. They're going to have... Oh, never mind! Nuguri gets himself a 1-for-1 and a 2v1. You can never count this man out when he's on a playmaker.
And that's the thing, I think he was really smart looking for that, because Hacker had flash. Even if Nuguri would have flashed towards his turret, I think Hacker probably could have closed the distance, especially if he did hit that W, but I need to stop.
Oh, there's a good shockwave, but it's going to be the showstopper out for Doinb as he pops himself the Haymaker as well, just to mitigate the damage. And Tien and Doinb, this mid-jungle combo, looking as clean and crisp as ever.
Man, I just feel so bad for Xiao Cao. Comes into the game, again, doing fine in the laning phase, makes one really sick play towards the top lane, and FPX just punishing him constantly, and he's never that far forward, but they just have the tools to close the distance, dropping the equalizer first, getting the burn, getting the slow, giving time for Doinb to get in there. But I want to go back to that play we saw from Nuguri, right? Because he knew he was 90% dead, so it was much more worthwhile to look for that trade. He's so far ahead, as you hit on earlier, he had the damage to go for it, so... FPX going to keep their small gold lead, and next thing we're looking at is Dragon coming up in 1 minute. It looks like FPX are going to use their control of topside to just go for Herald, though, and I don't really expect UP to come and contest.
No, they shouldn't be able to contest, but they will be able to contest for this Dragon in a minute's time, like you mentioned. But I will say for FPX, now that you have the Rift Herald, you can create that pressure in mid lane. You can get the priority. We've seen it a million times of how you want to use this, Rift Herald effectively when you're trying to stop those Dragon stackings. Though, the Dragon's not stacking too fast. We see ZS now up in this top side. Doinb might be in a little bit of trouble. The Tam Kench is there as well. He does have the Stride Breaker, as it only has a 20-second cooldown. And he gets himself out, so you've committed to the Tam Kench ult here now. And 20-30 seconds until Dragon spawns. I don't really think you can really contest this if you're on the upside right now.
Yeah, it's going to be rough because ZS his Mega Gnar is going to time out. They do have some good wards if they do want to try to find a flank, but he's not going to be able to build up his Rage Bar in time. And this should even be mid lane turret for FPX, so Ultra Prime also going to have to deal with Rift Herald. I think you just have to give this one up, look to get gold elsewhere on the map. That's what we see Hacker doing right now anyway, taking camps. And Xiao Cao going to go and try and equalize with the gold trade in the top lane by taking this tower.
Yeah, I like this from Ultra Prime. Just very much saying, look, we know that we're not going to be able to get this Dragon. We know that the top lane turret's kind of gone down. Actually, bot lane turret, I believe, just went down. I can't actually see which one it was exactly. Well, I believe it was bot lane tier 2 went down because it was so damn low. So we'll get a net positive in the gold trade as they're able to pick up 2 towers if they're able to get that top turret as well. Crisp taken down to just above half HP as he tries to get himself some vision control. An Infernal Rift, though, means that we should see some explosive team fights as both teams push and parry for that all-important Infernal Soul. And Doinby, he's been annoying. He's been very, very strong in the first start of this game, but he will start to fall off just a little bit. He'll be more of an engaged tool. He won't be one-shotting carries anymore, you hope anyway, as the rest of, FPX start to, build up their items. You start to look towards Nuguri, you start to look towards Tien for the all-important damage in the team fights.
The good thing for him along those lines is that he is ahead of his counterpart, so he's still going to be, stronger relatively to Xiao Zhaobao in a lot of these early skirmishes. Already picking up the Sterix gauge as well, so on his second item, him and Nuguri just so far ahead. The thing that I liked about Ultra Prime in the last sequence was that they actually did hover for their mid laner, so he can actually finally safely pull out. Also cool to note that we see Xiaoxi utilizing the ultimate to try to catch out people in side lanes. That's not really a style of Tahm Kench we've seen for a couple seasons now with, the prioritization on Soul being so important. Even Up's comp isn't really much of a comp that plays around side lanes, right? You have an Orianna who isn't going to match a set, and you have a Gnar who can't match the accelerated Lucian on the opposite side. So just using the Abyssal Voyage to try to pick off FPX when they do make potential mistakes.
We're going to hit a bit of a lull state, I imagine, here, as they say in the LCK, as we wait for both teams to kind of just pick up the farm. There's plenty of long lanes here now. All outers are gone for the side of Ultra Prime. Only the one down in the bot side, but there is 2 towers gone, so it's quite a long lane for FPX. And there's only about a 2,500, 3,000 gold lead. So for FPX, what is your plan? Are you just looking to fight at dragons? Are you looking to try and force a Baron? What do they want to do to try and accelerate themselves into a winning position?
For FPX, it's interesting because they can just keep doing what they've been doing, which is playing around trying to find picks on side lanes, right? We've been seeing FPX especially link up with Doinby because Doinby didn't bring TP, so he can't really move to the opposite side of the map if, let's say, Nuguri was in trouble, to where vice versa they are able to do that. The thing I'm wondering, right, because it is FPX, is if they have the... we'll use the word confidence. If they have the confidence to just try to bait a Baron, because right now they are still feeling relatively good in 5v5s, right? This is where Doinby is going to be at his strongest. It only tapers off for the rest of the game, like you hit on earlier. Rumble feeling very strong right now as well. And you're still at the point where Xiao Zhaobao isn't exactly online as, right? We see FPX right now. They are trying to find ways to force.
Trying to find it. Ultra Prime definitely keeping everyone at arm's length.
They're going to do it, Penguin.
They are. It's You're a Prophet. They're going to force around the Baron. They have got the vision, but there is the Scryer's Bloom just on top of it. Not going to dissuade them just yet, though. They can kind of keep tanking this one just, relatively easily. Ball in, though. It's a very slow Baron when you don't have your 80 carries on it. Now you got your 80 carries on it, and you can keep going for this one. Down to about half HP. Red buff being traded off here to SMLZ. It's a bit of a strange one here. They're just trying to bait this one out, and you can see Doinby jumping in with the ghost. There's the Equalizer coming down. They're trying to just get him down on top of this. Hacker has been taken out with Doinby with a big shield. Force the flash over the back of the Baron pit. Now we can see Hacker jumping in. He pops the ultimate. It's SMLZ picking up the first kill of this fight, and Up are still pushing forward. They're still looking for more kills. They're going to be able to push in. Flash from LWX does dodge out the shockwave, but a flash in from ZS means he will land the Mega Gnar. Doinby will pop himself the Haymaker, will not get the face breaker. Sivir picks up another. That's 3 kills, and it's all gone wrong for the side of FPX, and Ultra Prime are looking at that Baron.
Yeah, Ultra Prime in a really good spot. It's very telling that they took over the E-Star spot, because let's remember, E-Star brought a team in 2020 spring none of us believed in, and they ended up having a really good split. Tien is still up. Nuguri is up as well. They might not have their ultimates, but I think they can look to try to get some punishment down.
Yeah, SMLZ needs to be so careful with tanking this Baron now as well. Nuguri and Tien can do a hell of a lot of damage. Equalizer up at about 5 seconds. Baron down to 5,000 HP. SMLZ is so damn low. You can see 2, 1. There is the Equalizer going to be popped down on top of the Baron as he's trying to just burn it down. They do not get it. It's going to go over to Ultra Prime. Another Mega Gnar means that this fight is all but dead for the side of FPX. Ultra Prime, they took a risk, but it was well calculated, and they will be able to get themselves out with the Baron.
And this is going to be massive for Up. Can Nuguri find this? No, is going to have to back off, but right, we saw FPX doing such a pretty good job of pulling up around the map, forcing in side lanes, but now you're up against a Baroned up team. You're not going to be able to do that. We're going to go straight into the replay, and I feel like the big thing here is, right, we see the Equalizer not really able to hit or dissuade anyone. Doinby goes the complete opposite way of his team. SMLZ immediately flashes out, and Up just did a good job of kiting out that engage with the fact that Doinby wasn't able to coordinate the ult into the rest of the Ultra Prime squad. And one of my questions about the Tahm Kench pick coming out of draft was like, hey, you know, how do you really start up these fights? Sure, you have a Gnar, sure, you have a Xin Zhao, but I feel like these are more situational. Like, they're not guaranteed engages like something like an Alistar, but they're able to kite out the engages. We see that very good turn potential coming from them with the On the Hunt. And now I feel like Ultra Prime are in such a good position going into the rest of the game.
Great team fighting. I gotta shout out ZS as well. He was able to kind of just be in a nice position to be able to keep that chase going, get the two ultimates off within quick succession of each other. And now, looking at the gold, it's, you know, a little bit of a gold lead here now for the side of Ultra Prime. Yes, they lost that third dragon of the game, but second one for FPX. They were able to get it because of the resets and the rotations. As now, this Baron Duff minion wave in this mid lane, not quite enough to be able to take down this turret, but once they are able to get it, they will be able to start opening up this map a little bit more. But I like this from Ultra Prime. They recognize that Doomby was on the bot side of the map, and they're able to kind of back away, giving him the respect he deserves.
The sad thing for Ultra Prime is the fact that they weren't able to pick up the last dragon as well, right? They had low health bars. They needed to have resets. FPX died first, which the funny thing about that is it gives you first move back on the map. So it feels like neither of these teams are realistically going to be playing for Soul. Maybe FPX could, but right, we'd be looking at like a 40-minute game. Hacker goes in, but looks like nothing's going to happen. And we are back to square one. Oh, maybe not, Penguin.
Maybe not. We're going to be seeing him go for the equalizer here. Going to have the Tahm Kench to get Xiao out, but he's going to be jumping on him. There's the shockwave down. It's going to be the Orianna, the focus, but they can't just kill him just yet. This is the damage we talked about, but it's all about Nuguri in the backside. It's going to be a trade of Tahm Kench for the set. Honestly, I think you're fine with that if you're Ultra Prime, but it is still good for FPX. They are delaying this Baron push. They are wasting the time that they have with it.
I like that we're also seeing the dynamic of how these fights should be playing out, right? That if FPX can get in immediately, if they can use their ultimates and their burst abilities to catch members of UP out and take them out of the fight quickly, they're feeling good. But any extended fight, UP should win. They have more DPS. I feel like especially once we have ZS's Mega Gnar up, he can have a massive impact in just helping the other members of Ultra Prime wipe the fight. So FPX at least have a very good understanding of how their team comp needs to play out these fights. And UP on the opposite end are showing too, hey, we kite out the initial engage, we kite out the set ultimate, equalizer goes down, we now have more damage than them, we can win out.
I'm looking at the damage. Well, I love this item pick up the Serpent Fang here for this SMLC on the Sivir. Just knowing that the people who have the shields are going to be the ones engaging. It's going to be the set. Obviously, reducing that shield by 35% is going to be huge to be able to burn him down. And we see it there. He's just not lasting as long in these fights. And it's going to be, like I mentioned earlier, all about, you know, Nuguri, Tien, and of course LWX to be the damage dealers once they get an initial engage from Doomby.
And the thing about Serpent's Fang as well is you'll even see it felt when the other enemy composition doesn't have a ton of shields, just because it is one of the cheaper lethality items on the Rift, right? It's 2,600 gold. I think the only other lethality item that is the same is Umbral Glaive. All the other ones, Serelda's Grudge, 3,200. I think Sanguine Blades, 3,000. So it is even just a nicer buy that is an easier break point to get to. But you already highlighted there are shields on the side of FPX. So working to take down Doomby, working to help take down Tien as well. And now for Ultra Prime, their game going forward is just do what you're doing now. Get some defensive wards down. You know, you're fine even just having your vision line up to river. You don't really need to push for that many deep wards. Cycle through your jungle camps, catch waves, wait for the next neutral objective to come up where, you know, you can try to find a team fight for FPX to come into you. FPX, to me, are the team who need to be the ones trying to find picks like we see on their screen, because we can tell even from that earlier Baron bait, they feel the pressure of the scaling.
Oh, speaking of pressure, Hacker gets jumped on. He's going to have to pop his ult. There's the equalizer down. But heal from SMLZ and a teleport in. ZS has to flash immediately, but now can they kite this one out? You'll see piercing arrows coming in off the side just a little bit. Doomby gets jumped on. There's ZS with the ultimate, jumping onto Chris. See if they can burn him down with 30 seconds until that dragon. This would be a very nice little pick off for the side of Ultra Prime. They get it, and now a lot of you are engaged, apart from, you know, basically it's Doomby or bust right now if you want to go for a team fight until that Alistar comes back up.
The lucky thing for him, right, is the Ghost, Flash, and Stridebreaker are all there. So you actually have a very easy time of getting in onto the enemy team, but can your team be in a position to follow up? I don't really think so. Infernal's up right now. I assume Up are going to look for that, but Baron is also up soon. We've already talked about Up are actually only on one dragon, so if they wanted to go towards Soul, that this game's going to be a long one. But for Up, I think neutral objectives at this point are a lot more about finding the fights that you just found.
You can see Ultra Prime, they were very tentative about committing everybody to this Dragon take, as they did recognize, like you said, the Baron was up and available. Tien, though, needs to be a little bit careful, does not want to be engaged upon, as we mentioned in the pre-game, but these objectives will be melted by FPX. You have double AD carry and a Rumble on your team. You will just burn that health bar. You cannot let this one go to a couple of seconds, a couple of, 30, 40 seconds. It will just be gone. You can see it there with 3 people on it. They're just melting it.
Yeah, they're doing so well, and they're once again trying to find the fight. Nuguri already getting off some good damage.
ZS, though, is very close to Mega. Here we go. They're going to jump in there with the Face Breaker and, of course, the ultimate from the Equalizer. There's going to be a lot of damage. They're in a chokehold. Crisp is here. They're going to trade support for support as everyone's just kind of scattered to the winds. Shockwave means that Orianna will stay alive just about. ZS gets the Varus into the wall, and Xiao Xiaobao is still alive. But look at Nuguri. He's shredding these health bars. They're still going. They're still pushing. It's a triple for Nuguri. It will almost certainly be the ace as ZS keeps running for his life. He gets a blast cone. Actually, he will be able to get out just because he's a fast little man with his ult, or sorry, with his pop, I should say. And that's going to be Baron 4 kills as well. FPX not dead yet.
And Nuguri popping off. Tien as well. Ultra Prime funnels into a choke point. We finally see a massive equalizer. All of Ultra Prime's health bars were like 50% by the time that the rest of the members of FPX are able to follow up and clean up those kills. So getting a lot of value out of these ultimates was one of the win conditions we set up for FPX. Dwinby getting a little bit of a, I don't want to say revenge, but pummeling his former teammate in SMLZ from those Rogue Warrior days. And we're going to see here, Dwinby goes in for the engage. Amazing face breaker. And look, they're just funneled into the choke, sitting on top of the equalizer, certain members having to flash away. SMLZ zoned from the rest of his team. Tien still putting off big damage. And sure, ZS does find a nice pick onto LWX, but Nuguri and Tien are able to wrap around after Nuguri does take down the Sivir. And that was just really beautiful engage from Dwinby and really nice follow-up and ability usage from the rest of the members of FPX.
Honestly, Nuguri looked like he had a target, a dead-on laser, and it was SMLZ or nothing else. He was just straight up honed in on that Sivir, and this brings him onto 4.5 items. He is almost full build, 7-2-0, has almost Flame Horizon the Gnar. And this is just a huge game from him on this Lucian. Why we see so much priority on this, why we see so many LPL teams just prioritizing it so much is because it can do stuff like this in the late game while also having a fantastic early game to keep, a tank down. So we'll see now with 2 minutes left until this dragon. It's 2 dragons apiece, so we are not going to see a soul for a very, very long time. But with this, pushing into that mid lane, you can see the Shirelda's Grudge being able to keep everybody away. This full lethality Sivir still able to keep these waves at bay, and this is kind of the benefit you get when you get to 4 and 5 items now for the side of Up.
And the thing is, right, she's still going to be dealing a massive amount of damage to LWX, to Tien, to Nuguri, so having a lot of strength in the mid game, still going strong. Even the Shirelda's Grudge is going to be nice up against Dwinby, who really doesn't have that much armor yet at all, so you're still going to be able to do a lot coming out from SMLZ. And Dragons going forward for both teams now, not even just Up, are going to be trying to bring the enemy team into a position where you have your vision line so you can find your fights.
Whoa, SMLZ! He's burning, he's ticking, he will not die, just about stays alive, but loses his heal. That's going to be the mid lane tier 2 dropping there. You still got about 40 seconds left on this Baron for the side of FPX. They're just going to use it to push in waves, reset, get themselves back on the map, and get themselves ready for this the 5th Drake of the game, but potentially their 3rd.
And I was completely wrong, right? Even in the last fight, Dwinby not doing anything to his former teammate SMLZ. It is totally Nuguri, like you're saying. The fact that he also found that angle to get off all that damage, almost just solo killing him with the culling. This is why Nuguri, we've said, is arguably, best player in LPL, potentially best player in the world. Hasn't lost a step since winning Worlds on Damwon. Already sitting at 6 items ahead of everyone else on the Rift. I mean, I don't know how you stop Nuguri on the side of Up. You're going to have to dedicate multiple people to trying to take him down. You can just keep doing what he's doing. Sit with your team, Oh god, Xiaoxi walking too far forward.
Damn, they're going to be able to jump on top of this. There's a showstopper to start it all. Doomby on the backside. They're going to drop in the equalizer as well. SMLC still very healthy, still very much alive in this fight. It's kind of separated though. 2 to the top, 3 to the bottom. As everyone kind of goes in, and Nuguri knows this. He knows they're separated away. Doomby has been caught out. ZS will have his ultimate available to him now, but Nuguri is looking for that mid lane. The flash in, the Narvar is enough to get them into the wall, but it's purely disengage. And everybody backs themselves away. They will have not got the health bars. They've lost a lot of flashes. That means they're probably going to have to give up this dragon.
So overall, I think good for the side of FPX. Like you said, Ultra Prime should have to give this up. Looks like they do want to try and come in. They do have TPs available, but FPX are too fast. Nice ultimate coming out from ZS. It really stopped the follow-up to where I think he would have died had he not landed it on so many members. But I don't know how long we could keep just harping on Nuguri because he's doing so much. Once again, gets his ultimate back up, forces the flash out from Xiao Cao Bao. And now for FPX, right, I think we should have Baron up relatively soon. Maybe look for that as your next objective. You're not going to be able to siege down any turrets on the side of up, right? You're facing an Orianna and Sivir. That's massive amounts of wave clear. You are not doing that. Your only hope is to pull them out of their base, get deep vision in their jungle, try to take away their camps from them, pull them into you. We've already seen Doomby doesn't even really need to find a flank. He just has so much mobility within his items, his champion, his summoner spells, that Doomby can always find the engage if up or outside of their base.
It just feels like right now it's just so much damage and there's just nothing they can do about it. You can see how quickly he's able to get that relentless pursuit off every single time. And Crisp, got to be walking in on top of a couple of wards. Has got Nuguri in tow. It's actually Nuguri who's defending the Alistar rather than the opposite way around. There's the culling to try and just kill off Xiaoxi. He almost gets it, but oh my god! Xiaoxi taking down on literally 10 HP, able to survive. But these cooldowns and these ultimates, the culling, the equalizer, they're going to be up in about 30 seconds, so it doesn't even matter that you try and use it for a pick.
I mean, the thing for up right now is, realistically, if Baron comes up, I'm not sure if you can contest it, right? FPX are playing too well. Nuguri's playing too well. By the time you're able to get in range to find an engage with a Gnar, with a Xin Zhao, they're already going to be like too low of HP on their champions. And again, he's on 6 items already. You compare that to enemy counterparts. ZS is a full item behind him. Xiao Cao Bao is only sitting on 3.5, so he's even further away. The damage dealers for up aren't there yet to contend with Nuguri. Crisp actually caught out.
He is caught out, but this Baron is going down very, very quickly. We mentioned it time and time again. It will be shredded. It goes over to the side of FPX, and then the fight can happen. Crisp is dealing with the Orianna. This is big for the side of FPX. They trade the supports that he can't be here. ZS trying to get him away. Doomby goes in on top of everybody. He will be able to completely distort this retreat from the side of up. Double kill here for Nuguri, triple for Nuguri, and he's not even gonna go for padding the stats. He knows what he needs to do. He needs to find that Orianna. He needs to be the one to, or not the Orianna, excuse me, the SMLZ. There it is, quadra kill for Nuguri, and that's gonna be game 1 going over to FPX. It took a while, but the late game scaling of Lucian is just too damn strong.
I mean, the thing is, he just got so far accelerated, right? We even saw in that last fight him, like, 2 autos chunking out enemy carry health bars. Like you said, it was a little bit shaky, but FPX get the job done.
FPX, a little rocky early game, and for Ultra Prime, you're not going to be unhappy with your performance, but it is going to be game 1 of this best of 3 going over to FPX in 36 minutes. We'll call it 37. And that's going to be 1 game in the bag. Can they get the other to win out this series? But Nuguri is just... I keep harping on about it. It's just... he's just